Welcome back to Near Post Podcast, episode 11. I do believe we're flying along here. We've got our first guest on. We got Kyle here from Nothing But Reds, massive Liverpool channel based in America. Great page. Check it out. Kyle, tell us a bit about yourself.
Things are good, Dermot. Appreciate you having me on.
No bother. No bother at all. Look, we'll get straight into it. We know your page, massive Liverpool fan. What's gone wrong with us this year? Like, what has happened to us? Where do you start?
That's the thing. Where do you start? I think I've said this before on a bunch of the videos on our channel as well. I think it's a combination of a bunch of different stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we were talking before this. The fans play a big role. Massive. The injuries play a big role. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I mean, just look at the last week, right? Or not even the last week, last couple of weeks. Klopp's mother unfortunately passed away. You got Alisson's father passing away the other day. Henderson just had surgery. Gomez and Van Dijk both had surgery. I mean, you can't make this up. You could write a book and it's just unbelievable. So, every team has to deal with no fans, but it's just a culmination of a bunch of stuff. And I think it's just all hitting us at once.
100%. Yeah.
I think it's the responsibility of the players and Klopp, though, to, stay focused, which of course they're trying to do, right? Of course they're trying to do.
They haven't stopped trying. They haven't stopped playing. You know, when you watch a team and they've just stopped playing for the manager, like, I don't think that's what's happened. I just think the confidence is so shot. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I think there's definitely a mental aspect to it. I think that's what you're getting at, because we're playing for the manager, we're playing our style of football. But yeah, there's no I feel like sometimes there's no passion. There's no desire to fight back in the last 5 minutes or so. If we make one mistake, we'll just check.
100% though. When we look back at seasons before and I look at Salah, I think Mane especially looks like his confidence shot. They always used to be looking to take on the man. Now everyone just wants to pass the ball, pass the easy pass, give it back, keep recycling. No one's really there taking them on. Bobby Firmino, I feel for him. He looks like a different man.
Yeah, I think when Firmino doesn't play well, we don't play well. And when Firmino is at playing his best stuff, I think we look so much better. He just links it all together. Remember he scored the 2 goals against Palace. He was in poor form then. He got the winner against Tottenham. We thought, okay, he's back. He's looking good. And then he just had a few stinkers after that. I don't really know what's up with him, to be honest.
Yeah,
not just him.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it seems like Bobby and Mane are they're hot and cold, but they're cold for multiple games in a row. Whereas Salah just keeps nicking them in. Salah's been very consistent. And I don't know what it is. And even Mane came out with a quote earlier. He said, Firmino's his favorite teammate. He's the guy that makes everything click. Myself and Salah wouldn't be the players we are without Bobby. So, and Klopp has come out and said that before. I think every diehard Liverpool fan knows how important Bobby is. But the question has to be asked, is he starting to wean off? Is it time we get in a new striker? James Pearce had an article about that recently too.
I seen that, yeah. He's it's not even that he's not scoring the goals. His goal record has been okay, but he's not really in the team to get the goals, But watching him recently, his first touch and stuff looks off. Even the simple little passes out to the wing to Salah and Mane, they're just off, and then it just slows everything down. So
That's what really annoys me, though. Since Bobby's come to the club, I feel like there's been a vendetta against him from rival teams. Every time anything goes wrong with Liverpool, especially regarding the front three, everyone throws the blame on Bobby Firmino. Man United fans, Man City fans, even our own fans sometimes, just because he doesn't score goals. The man, he's a different style striker. I really, really rate him.
Yeah, he's the easy target, though, right? Because What idiots would go after Mane and Salah everyone can see the talent there, right? Whereas Bobby, because he doesn't score goals, right? That's the immediate target. You can say he plays that false nine, that striker role, but he's not scoring as many goals as freaking Kane or whoever else, Jamie Vardy.
Yeah.
But he does more work than those guys. Those guys hang out up top. They don't do defensive.
Yeah, Vardy plays off the last man.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's not Firmino's game. Sorry. Yeah.
So
another player.
Do you think we need a new player in though?
It's got to be the right player.
Yeah.
You can't just go out and get any, Bobby Firmino replacement. You know what I mean?
Jota back soon is promising.
He can play anywhere up at that
Yeah.
front.
The thing with Firmino, I don't know what player will they actually try, if they were looking to get someone, will they try to get an actual out and out striker, if you get me?
Yeah.
I don't look at Firmino as an out and out striker. I think he's not a false, he's like a center forward, like a high center forward, and then he can play the cam position as well. You see I seen linked with Leicester. I don't know if you've seen much of him. He was linked with us. I don't know how true it was. Your man Ivan Toney from Brentford. He's a different striker though. I think he's an out and out striker. Kind of reminds me of Watkins, not just because he's at Brentford, but just kind of strong, powerful, and has a very good goal record. I know it's in the Championship, so you have to see what he'll do in the Prem. Someone like him, maybe.
Potentially could be. I mean, I wouldn't put it past us going into the Championship to get somebody. Look at Ben Davies, but I think you're right. I think you're spot on with the fact that Bobby's more of like a center attacking mid. Like that is his role. Klopp has like converted him into that center forward role. I mean, Origi's an out-and-out striker, and he does nothing when he comes in. Nothing at all.
It's hard to criticize him, but for the goals he's gotten us, but it's gotten to the stage now when he looks like he's walking around the pitch that he doesn't even care sometimes. It's just, he needs to be sold.
Yeah, and it goes without saying, I think, just to be clear, Origi's the legend. Like,
he's a cult hero.
When his time's up, everyone's going to remember Origi for the great things he's done.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's time for him to go.
But I can't be criticizing Origi too much because I think we all know he's not Liverpool's standard. He was never really there. He was there since we had disgraceful attacking forwards.
Yeah.
Like, Lallana, Balotelli, all that type of players. But like, he's just, I can't diss him too much, but Minamino out on loan, starting to score a few goals, looking nice. I'd say that's just another buy and sell option for us, to be honest.
Yeah, like 4 million, you can't, like, we're going to make profit on him, aren't we, really?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past us. It would be a good business decision because we could probably sell him on for, I honestly think we could get 20 or 25 for him.
Like, yeah, definitely. Michael Edwards.
Yeah, he can do anything he wants. But I would also like to keep Minamino. Like, why not? I mean, you look at him at South, he can finish.
I love the goal against Chelsea the other day. Sat Azpilicueta down, just slotted in nicely. But I don't know about Minamino. I just don't think he's good enough. I think he's a decent little player, but just say City are our benchmark. They're bringing on Mahrez, Jesus. We're bringing on Origi, Minamino. You know what I mean? It's just, I know they have well more money to spend than us, and they have a much better. But if that's what you're looking at, it's such a big difference, I think.
No, I agree. I think that's a very good point, actually.
Definitely,
Just what do you make of Kabak now as well coming in?
We need more time to see him. He's played 3 games. He's had 1 really good game and 2 where he's average to below average. But I mean, you can, if you want, you can judge him off those 3 games, and he's nothing special. But I also see the potential in the kid.
Yeah,
I do. I mean, his positioning is pretty decent if you watch the games again. And he's also never played next to an actual center back. Like, for example, look at Joe Gomez. Putting Joe Gomez next to Van Dijk makes Joe Gomez in the conversation for top center backs in the Premier League, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So put Kabak next to Van Dijk and see what he can actually do. And plus, Kabak looks up to Van Dijk. So
yeah, he got his jersey. I think he got his jersey when he was like 18. That picture went around when he signed. But you look even like when Joe Gomez is playing, he had Fabinho playing in midfield, shielding him, Henderson shielding him. Kabak's coming into a team that hasn't been going well. I don't think we can judge him at all, especially he's coming from Schalke, who are going to get relegated. I think they're last place still in the Bundesliga. So when he signed, to be honest, I didn't expect much from him. If he was half decent, I was happy. And he's only 20, so he can only get better, and we don't have to buy him. I think we've an option to buy him at the end of the season, so we'll wait and see.
Right.
So, it's going to be a different story altogether anyway. When Van Dijk's coming back, we'll have to see what way that goes. But to be honest, like, I still think even if we get Gomez and everything back, I still think we need a long-term centre-back. I'm not a huge fan of Gomez. I think he's very good, but I think Van Dijk's made him
quite rash.
I think Van Dijk's made him look a different level. He overcommits the whole time.
It's an interesting take. Now, let me ask you this, Peter. Who would you rate higher, Gomez or Matip?
Matip for me all day.
Okay. See, I agree with that, but it's hard for me to like. A lot of people wouldn't agree because Gomez plays way more than Matip. But when Matip's next to Van Dijk,
Solid.
that is our best center back. That's our best partnership, in my opinion.
Yeah. Personally, I'd sell Matip in the summer because he can't stay fit. That's literally the problem with him. He just can't stay fit. I even read somewhere on Twitter that he wanted to leave this just because he couldn't keep up with the intensity of training. You know what I mean? His body was just breaking down. You can see that. Like, he's a good player. He's good on the ball, good defender. But I just sell him because he'll play 2 good games, get injured for a month, and it's just going to rinse him. You know, you can't rely on him. He's no good if he can't stay fit. But I do think he's better than Gomez.
To be fair, though, right? Kyle just have to say that Gomez has played much more than Matip. But that's going to be hard for all the players this season if they haven't been playing as much this last year. And now they've been thrown in the deep end, playing week in, week out.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know how Robbo's kept going, and Trent and the likes of them have been playing for, 3-4 years now without a break.
Because they're machines.
Yeah, Robbo is a machine.
They're absolute machines, dude. Robbo is like the epitome. Him and Gini and Firmino are just the epitome of a Liverpool player for me. Like, every week, 110%.
Just dogs. Dogs.
Just absolute dogs.
That's a tough one, I think, if Wijnaldum goes, like.
Yeah, that Barcelona link, I don't think he's stalling over that contract. I just think we're not offering the money he wants. I think he deserves the contract that he's looking for. I don't think he's asking for a scandalous amount of money. I think every time Wijnaldum's played the last 3 or 4 years, I think he's been 6, 7 out of 10. He's been so consistent. I'd definitely give him that contract. What do you think?
Yeah. I think the only argument behind the scenes that they're making with Wijnaldum is his production for the squad. I think Steven posted something on our Instagram the other day. He only has 1 assist in over the last 2 seasons or three seasons.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely nuts. He has more goals than assists, to be fair. I mean, he does score a couple, 3, 4, 5 goals a season, maybe. But for the production, that's probably why they're not wanting to pay him. He's a great player. He shows up every week, and he does the work defensively and offensively. He's just a box-to-box guy. He's very good. But the production...
I don't think he's in this...
You're good. Go ahead.
I just don't think he's in the squad to do that, though. And if you look, he's a big game player. He got a goal against Rome in that semi-final Champions League. Obviously, the 2 against Barcelona. Remember the winner at Sheffield United? That was a really tough game when we won the title that season. Yeah. Even in the big games, it goes under the radar how solid he is. His dribbling, his passing, his defensive. I just think he goes so under the radar from Liverpool fans as well.
It's not like he needs to play up higher, though, because I've seen him play for Netherlands up higher, and he's very prolific in front of goal, but we don't need him. He works beautiful. Like look at the front 3 we have there. Mane and Salah, when they're on fire, they're going to keep banging in goals. You don't need to look to midfield. Like, it's not like United where they need Bruno to score a goal for them, or like Man City need a midfielder to come up and score a goal. It's not needed. So
I agree 100% with both of what you said. We don't need him to go forward, but he's also, it's not necessarily what he's in the team for, to score goals and get assists. He's in there to do that work in the midfield. I think he's great. I'm very much in the camp, sign the extension, because I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but he's on, when you look at his wages, it's kind of ridiculous.
It's quite low, yeah.
He's not making more than $100,000 a week. I know that for a fact. I think it's like 75 maybe. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you think of what he's done. You think of some of the players, let's just say there's Arsenal players, someone like Xhaka, let's just compare, same position. Like, he'd be on about 100 grand plus a week. I don't think he's half the players. You know what I mean? He's definitely worth that money. Definitely worth that money. Speaking of our midfielders, though, probably the most slandered man on Twitter, Thiago. What have you made of him so far since he joined? It's a tough one.
It's a very tough one because the guy, he's very good. He's very technical. He's a little rash with his challenges, I'll be honest. Like, every game he's played, within the first 2 minutes, he's sliding in.
Terrible tackler.
It's crazy. But honestly, I just think he's been so average, he hasn't really – maybe it's the role he's playing, right? That deep 6 maybe. Like, I don't know if it's the role, but I also think Fabinho not being in that spot plays a huge factor in what Thiago was brought in to do. So that's just my opinion on it. But
Yeah.
for me, he's been average. He hasn't really made too many mistakes. He hasn't done anything amazing. He's had a few volleys that have looked like very good, but they've been blocked. So, I mean,
that's a good mention with Fabinho. Like Fabinho not there doesn't really allow Thiago any freedom to go and does what he wants. Like I think bringing in Thiago's more than just bringing in a good midfielder. The impact he's going to have on the younger guys for the likes of Curtis Jones and everything. Because when you look, we're all lying here if we say Henderson's technically gifted. Like he's a workhorse, and that's
I think
good.
that's a bit harsh.
Nah, he can be technical when he wants, but he's a dog. Like, but Thiago's going to produce that bit of class. If we can get that into the likes of Curtis Jones, it's very promising.
I think that's a bit harsh on Henderson. If you actually watch Henderson, I even noticed for last few games, obviously not as good as Van Dijk, but you know them diags he would play to Salah, just switching the play. I think Henderson goes under radar for his pass, but on Thiago, I think the pundits again are missing it. They're asking why he's come like with Kabak, he's not coming into a good team to a team that's playing well, that's firing on all cylinders. Like I think if Thiago, let's just say Thiago comes into us last season where we're flying, we've got a full fit squad, I think it'd be a totally different scenario. But I think everyone's missing that once again. They just see Thiago, class player, and you know what I mean? They just want to get onto him straight away. It's kind of like with Bruno, let's be honest. Bruno, people say Penandes and all this sort of stuff, but deep down we know he's a class player. We just want to slander him in some way because he's a rival.
Look, anyone would be lying if they say they wouldn't take Bruno in the squad. I would take Bruno in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
The guy's class. Same thing with De Bruyne. Like just absolute class midfielders. But going back to what we were talking about Henderson, just real quick. Henderson, you're right. His long passing is class. Like it's extremely he's underrated, period. Yeah. But I have never seen Henderson do a step over, a chop, anything. The man is not technical whatsoever. I don't even know how to describe him. He's fundamentally sound.
If you actually look up, there's when Henderson was in the Sunderland Academy. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I know Peter's seen it. He was about 15. They used to do like a skills challenge where they go.
Yeah, I've seen
you know the video.
Yeah.
And like they were hyping it up, but all he was doing was if you keep QPR around the world realistic. I think Sterling did one of them when he was with QPR when he was like 15, 16 as well. That was Henderson's claim to fame at the start. But yeah, no, you're dead right.
I love
he's
how
just
Henderson,
good at all the simple things.
I love how he's grown in. Remember when he first came and he started and Gerrard was kind of on the way out, and there were so many Gerrard comparisons when they're different players. But over the last few years, like it's sad to say, like he's lifted a prem and Gerrard hasn't. Like he's created his own legacy there, and I think he gets too much abuse for what he's done. He's an absolute leader and a half.
100%. And look, Henderson was playing like a cam under Rodgers.
Yeah.
Like he was playing so far forward, and he produced. And now under Klopp, he's been playing center back. I mean, this guy's very underappreciated. That's all. I'll just leave it at that.
Look, like since he's came to Liverpool, right? He's played center mid. He's played on the right mid under Rodgers as well for a bit. Right wing kind of center mid, right mid, cam. He played right back a few games. I think it was last season. For a couple of Champions League games, he slotted in right back, right wing, but maybe it was 2 seasons ago. He's played centre back as well this season. He's literally played everywhere, and he's still producing them 7 out of 10 performances. So, yeah, just gets unnecessary slander. Yeah. Big question though: do you still think we'll get top 4 this year?
It's
honestly,
tough.
honestly,
on current form, I think we will. I think we will, just because. I can't see West Ham beating us to top 4. I just can't see it. But if it happens, it happens.
I don't think it's West Ham though. All right, so City are going to get it. Obviously, they're going to win the title.
City.
I think Leicester aren't going to drop off. I think that they got knocked out of the Europa League last night, so I think that's going to suit them. I think United are going to get top 4. Hate saying it. And Chelsea. I think Chelsea are our biggest rival. Tommy Tuchel's in now. Off this channel, we were never big fans of Lampard on this channel. We just never rated him as a manager, thought he was over it. But now I was always saying, once they get a proper manager in with that squad of players, they're going to be a force.
Yeah, they're good. They completely switched formations. They have those wing backs, like they're almost like right mids, like and left mids, and they're just solid. Like they offer that threat going forward. And you're right, they have so many solid young players and a lot of depth too.
Yeah,
A lot of depth that we don't have, and players that I didn't think would stay in the squad. Mason Mount, like I didn't think Mason Mount would play. Mason Mount's been pretty solid.
he's been their best player probably this season.
Yeah, probably. And then you can't forget Jorginho Kovacic, one of the best, next to Wijnaldum, probably one of the best dribblers in the Premier League.
Kovacic, yeah.
Ball. I mean, just solid team, really solid team.
Yeah, good manager there as well. One player for them, I know it's going off top, but Chelsea, Giroud, I think he's probably the most underrated striker in the league. They look so much better with him. I don't know what you think of him. Me and Peter have always been a massive fan of him. I just think if he's still the French striker, I think that says it all. I'd say he's a joy to play with for them wingers, the likes of Ziyech, Pulisic, Werner, whoever's playing alongside with him. He makes them all look better, I think.
He's just an amazing professional from that striker spot. Like kind of like Aubameyang, like they're older, right? They're older players, but Giroud comes in and he's just clinical. Like he just knows what to do. He lives in that striker spot. Same thing with Aubameyang. I respect the hell out of him. I'm waiting for him to fall off, and he never does. It just seems like he's almost getting better.
He's never relied on his pace, though. That's the thing. When you see players that they've always relied on their pace, so when they lose that yard of pace, they're not the same player. Giroud has never done that, even when he was in his mid-20s or whatever. I think that's why. I think he still has another 2 or 3 good years in him.
Oh
yeah. I seen an Instagram post during the week, like you show someone who's never watched football a clip of all Giroud's best goals, and you can say he's better than Ronaldo. I just thought it's hilarious. Like, come on, it has to be said, he's the second all-time top goal scorer, I think, for France. Like, the only person who scored more is Henry, which is crazy to think about it. But we haven't had one of them since Luis Suarez. Like,
Luis Suarez was a special one, man. He really was.
Broke my heart to see him come back and what he done. But
yeah, well, hey, my conscience is clear after the Barcelona comeback, to be honest. If you go back and watch those clips, you'll see one of him. Yeah. He's just like,
especially what Robbo did to him, just a little.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Look, Luis Suarez was a class act. That's the only word. But if we go back to us and we're looking at our depth, Naby Keita, guys, what do you make?
Your dear mid, you go first.
We were having a bit of argument, Peter, on like the price. The price is fairly relative when you're describing it, you know what I mean? Peter I think you thought he was only like 25, 30. He was 50, 60 million pounds rising or whatever. I don't know what way the add-ons work, but somewhere around there. And I think he's been, how you hear about flops, certain teams like Pepe for Arsenal or Maguire for United, you know what I mean? Big money flops. I think Keita actually goes under the radar. I think he has quality, but like we were saying earlier, he just can't stay fit. The man just can't put a run of games together. I just think that's going to be his downfall.
I just think the debate for a flop, I don't think you can call someone a flop when they're injured. Like, it's like Maguire's been playing, right? He's been playing. Pepe doesn't really start. And because when he plays, I mean, he's had a couple great world-class goals, but nothing special. Keita is never playing. When he does play, he's great. So I hesitate to call him a flop. That's my opinion, though.
Maybe it's not a flop then. Maybe it's just poor value for money, like
100%. Yep.
Because I think the reason I thought that was a bit lower, that transfer, because I've never seen them really do a bad bit of business. That one always goes under the radar for me because you nearly forget he's a player. The only time I ever see him is on injury updates or whatever, like, oh, Keita back soon. He comes back. He gets
back in first team training or something like that.
Yeah, then he gets injured in training and he's gone for another while. Or it's just been it's heartbreaking to see. I don't think you'll ever amount to anything, to be honest. Like, it sounds very negative, but I just can't see it happening.
I hope you're wrong, but I agree with the fact that for value for money, I think the 54 was the price I remember. I could be a little bit off there, but that's like up there with like what we paid for Allison,
Yeah, it is.
I mean, Allison, I think, was just a little over 60, but I mean, it's just
you don't spend that type of money, like.
No. unless we've just sold a player. Like,
right. And I feel like bringing in Keita we paid that because we see what he brings. Like when he plays, he's an excellent footballer. I think anyone who watches him can see that. But you're basically wasting money at that point because he's never fit.
Do you remember we signed him? I'm fairly sure we signed him on one of them pre-agreed deals. Like we signed him, but he was going to finish the season at Leipzig, and we were going to get him the season after. I think we did that because there was everyone was linked with him. I remember it was kind of like Pepe. All the big clubs were after him. So much hype about him. Like, you know, one of them players. I think it's kind of similar to Upamecano. A lot of people haven't actually really seen him play that much, but everyone's linked to him, so it's kind of one of them. Oh, he must be good. Yeah, and there was so much hype about Keita. I think that's why he's so disappointing, because we thought we were getting a ready-made world-class player who's just going to slot right in there. Maybe he will. I still think he's only like, 25, 26 maybe, so
yeah.
Maybe
I
if
think
he can just stay fit.
I think though, like on your point there, with many clubs linked to him, that always raises the price of a player, you know, supply and demand. So I think he probably is only maybe a 30 million player. That's why I thought it's going to raise the price. It's not often you see a deal like that where you do weigh out for the season, like a pre-agreed. So we were very desperate to sign him at the time. It's really frustrating. I'd imagine that's why they could be hesitant for future transfers, because it's not often we spend 50 million and it's pretty much down the drain there. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's very true.
But I can't see him ever making a bit of an impact there, to be honest. I still think we need another midfielder. If Wijnaldum goes, like, that's a massive hole. Massive.
Yeah, definitely.
Who do you think we get in?
Yeah, look, I hope you're right. I'd love to be. It's one of them. Like, personally, I don't think we'll make top 4 here either. But it's one of them you just want to be proved wrong. You're happy to be wrong about it. But if you're just thinking with your head, maybe we'll do it Chelsea, finish 5th, and win the Champions League to qualify for the Champions League next year. I'd take that any day. But
oh yeah.
I feel like an Arsenal fan this season. I used to be so positive. I'm always thinking worst case scenario now, so I can't be disappointed, but I still keep getting disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, I was like
crazy.
I went.
Like, it's only been like the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And now we're all like, oh, my fault. It's only been like the last 2 months, and we're all like negative. You know what I mean?
Man, ask me 2 months ago, we're still winning the league. Now, then after a month, I was like, okay, we're still going to make top 4. We might win the league. And now I'm like, oh my God, we're getting relegated. It's getting worse every week.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. One thing off. Well, I think it does relate to Liverpool, because I was reading on Twitter. By the way, I'm not making an excuse of why it's been a culminate. I think another thing that's led to us has been some of the refereeing decisions, not just against us, but in general in the Premier League. We go on about it a good bit on this podcast, but I think the refs are absolutely shocking in the Prem. I don't know what you make of them. Just
when I watch it compared to the Premier League, when I compare it to Europe, like
we always talk about that as well. It's chalk and cheese.
Big difference. It's a big difference. I mean, it's like it's come to the point where I recognize referees in Europe, and I'm like, that guy was a good ref for us. Like in the Premier League, I'm like, he sucks. Or you know, and it's not even that calls are against us. It's just flat out some of the inconsistent calls.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating. Do you remember the Sheffield United game when I think it was Fabinho tackled one of their players? First of all, it was outside the box. Second of all, you could make a strong argument he got the ball. Penalty, VAR penalty, outside the box. Like, you know, sometimes they don't even check for the things that they need to look at. They check for an offside when there's a foul, or they check for a foul when there's an offside to be. You know what I mean? They don't know what they're looking for a lot of the time, I think.
And to just play devil's advocate, I think there's rules to being a referee, because if you make a call, you have to specifically look at VAR. You can only use VAR for the call you made. Like you can't go out of your way, and if you see something else in it, make a call on that. Yeah. And I think that's a lot of people forget about that. So I think that goes into like missed calls or wrong calls. Like if you make a call on the field and then you review it with VAR, you're only allowed to look at what you're reviewing. So if that makes sense. But
I get what you mean. Yeah. But just even, I don't know if you watched that Arsenal Villa game a few weeks ago on BT. There's a corner. Lacazette's just stand. You know when they're just trying to annoy the keeper a bit, just stand in front of him. Emi Martinez grabs hold of his shirt for about 2 or 3 seconds, slams him to the ground, and like, why? I'm not even blaming the ref on field for that. Why didn't VAR just let him know here? I think there's a definite penalty here. You should probably have a look at this here. There was no even check. That's what I don't get. Is that not what it was brought forward? Like,
yeah. I mean, the thing that pops into my mind, if you think back, I think it was after the restart. I think it was the first game after the restart. I think it was Villa and Sheffield.
yeah.
The ball went in the net, or maybe it didn't go in the net. And they completely missed it. Like, they just flat out missed a goal call. But that's the one that sticks out to me.
And that relegated Bournemouth. Like,
Was it Bournemouth or?
I think it was Bournemouth. Yeah, Villa wouldn't
Okay.
have stayed up if they didn't get that point, because I'm fairly sure that finished 0-0. That literally kept them in the league, saved them hundreds of millions.
One
Absolutely
thing,
crazy.
one thing that's been going on though, right? Everyone's looking at VAR now. This has been going on for absolute years since I started watching football. What's worse than that? The referees are so inconsistent. They're not even in good condition to be a referee. We've mentioned it. We've mentioned it before. Moss has got a lot of slander. They're overweight. I can't see this happen in the States. Anytime I've watched basketball, MLS, NFL, all the referees are good nick. Champions League, all of them are in good condition. We actually have fat referees going around. They shouldn't be reffing Sunday League.
Because I actually think it makes sense though, right? Because you watch them refs in the Europa League or Champions League, they're a lot fitter, so they can stay up with the play. You know what I mean? I think for refs, they need to be in a good position to actually view what's happening. You know what I mean? Be close. I think a lot of the refs are struggling, you know what I mean, to get into the right position to see, did he catch him here? I know they have the VAR now, but they're not actually up to play with, so they might actually slow the game down just to suit them.
Honestly, that's a great point, because you're right. You look at these UEFA refs, or I said that completely wrong.
Yeah.
UEFA refs or FIFA refs or whatever. They're like built. They're
they're
in
rich.
shape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Some of them look like they could play themselves. Jonathan Moss does not look like he'd come down to my local team and play on Sunday. He's in no condition. He looks like a man who should be in the pub.
Yeah. But that is the thing. Just it's like, as well, we've said as well, there's a reason why the English Premier League refs, they're not getting the big games at the Euros or at the World Cup. You see, they're all foreign. Well, you see very little English refs. Maybe Michael Oliver, who's a half decent one, but very little English refs ref the big tournaments. So I think that's just another reason why. That's
just been another one of our downfalls, potential excuses as to why we're not going to make top 4.
Potential excuses, yeah. But
hey, we can vent. We're allowed.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
But but even just to finish up, like the Maddison goal against Leicester, right? Just compare that to the one Henderson scores against, or he didn't score against Everton. Like, literally the exact same. I think it's your man Marty just points there. So is, like, they've called Ollie Watkins twice offside this season for pointing to where he wants the ball. He's been offside because his hand was, like, the lines are so inconsistent. They draw it. I don't know what way they draw the lines, what system that, you know what I mean? There's so many lines there. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, Stephen and I speak about this a lot too. I feel like maybe certain grounds have it, but there's no camera that's like straight down. We're always looking at an angle.
Slight angle, yeah.
And that affects it, no doubt. Even if you're using straight lines, like computerized lines, doesn't matter. You need to be able to see straight down. And I just don't know why they don't have that yet for VAR. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be so. I think as well, they need to bring in what they have in the rugby. I don't know if you watch that, but when they have rugby, they have TMO, and you can hear what the referee's saying and what he's being told by their equivalent of VAR. We have no idea what's going on there.
So you watch them rugby matches, right? They're making the decision. He's on call to, it's TMO, so basically the VAR room equivalent. And he's like, okay, I think red 7 touches him here. It's a high tackle. I'm going to look at it again. I think it's a yellow. Yeah, it is a yellow. Yeah, give him the yellow. Or yes, I think it's an intentional knock on. Don't award. You know what I mean? We can hear exactly what they're saying. Some, like, the refs never say why they. I'd love if they could come out after the game and say, I made this decision because I don't see it ever happening.
They're never held accountable. Like, the referee is like Jesus on the pitch. You're not allowed to say anything to him because if he does, they're just going to cry. You say anything in the press conference, you get fined. Like, what's the point of having officiating if they're not going to take any criticism?
Look, they're going to make mistakes. That's not... It's just the fact that they're making the same mistakes game in, game out. I think that's the most annoying thing. If they made a mistake and they're like, okay, I can see why I was, if he came out and said, look, I was wrong here, that was a harsh call, or maybe, you know what I mean, that probably wasn't a red card or whatever, you'd be like, fine, look, that's fair enough. But they keep on making the same sort of mistakes. That's just what drives you mad watching the games.
100%, guys. Right. I think we could talk all day about our excuses and everything that's gone wrong this season. It's just been a season from hell. I think we'll just wrap it up. Kyle, where do you think we're going to finish? What do you think is the next step?
I'm hoping we finish 4th.
Yeah.
I think that's hopefully where we'll end up. I think Jota coming back is huge for us. You know, what we need to do first off is just find a rhythm. Find some rhythm. Like, we can't be losing to Brighton and Burnley, and we can't be losing 4 in a row at Anfield. Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely nuts when you think about it. Like, going years without being beaten and then losing 4 in a row. There's got to be some sort of rhythm. And like you said at the beginning, confidence. Like, I think we're just lacking confidence. And I think once we get that back, we'll be back to where we were, because we have the talent. Definitely. It's just these extenuating circumstances, the injuries, no fans, you know, deaths in the family. I mean, it's just kind of unreal. Shocking. It's all piling up.
Just before you go there, prediction for this weekend, Sheffield United. What are you saying?
2-0.
2-0.
Sheffield for us.
Yeah.
2-0 Liverpool.
I'll go 2-1, but I don't see this being an easy game. I think it'll be a tough one. I say we scrape a 2-1 win. I'm
going for a sneaky 1-0.
Look, I'll take any sort of win. The scruffiest 1-0 will do me fine.
If we lose, it's a game changer.
If we don't win this game, you can definitely write off top 4.
You could write off European football, I'd say, if we lose this game. Be finishing down beside Arsenal. Anyway, look, I want to thank everyone for watching this. It's been a great episode for us. Everybody, go sub to Nothing But Reds. Their link will be in the bio. Kyle, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, much appreciated. First guest on Near Post, so much appreciated, Kyle.
Hey, I'm honored. Thanks, fellas. I appreciate it.
No bother, lad.
Right. Thank you.